Perfectionism is a myth. Setting excessively high standards for one's own performance sounds good in theory, but in practice, it doesn't align with our psychology. So where did it come from? Perfectionism has a long history, dating back to ancient Greece, closely tied to the concept of excellence. Over time, this idea evolved and became integrated into personal and societal norms, leading to the mental issues that we see today. The rise of social media and the constant pressure to present a perfect image has increased and has only made this worse. Curated lifestyles on Instagram have us feel like our lives are boring, and they'll have you believe that you aren't doing enough. This is a lie and oftentimes a dangerous one. The problem isn't that you aren't doing enough. It's that you've been sold the idea that you must be great from the start. Perfectionism is insecurity in disguise. Oftentimes we start a project and we get caught in this perfectionism spiral that ends up making us quit, never finishing the project, and never pursuing the goals we set out for ourselves and the dreams for our future. The root often comes from fear of failure, judgment, and procrastination. Since childhood, I always believed I had to be correct and impeccable. The school system teaches us that there's only one right answer. We end up overthinking our choices in life, believing that the answer to our problems has to be A, B, or C. I remember learning as a child how to write my name for the first time. I was 4 years old in preschool. I remember the classroom being filled with colorful blocks and puzzle mats. It smelled like dried up juice and scented wipes. My teacher was impatiently describing to me how to draw a B. Hold the pencil like this. She had barked at me for like the 5th time. My natural instinct was to hold the pen between my index and my thumb, but that was completely wrong apparently to her. She expected me to hold it like this. This was the correct way to hold a pen. That's what I was sold to believe. Point here is that she made me feel like I had to do it this way or else I was wrong. She would make me feel shameful for doing it the way I wanted to. So sadly, I ended up using her technique so that this miserable experience would go away. Throughout life, teachers, parents, and friends portray their own beliefs on you. And if they raise their voices loud enough, your mind starts to associate this with danger, especially as kids. The result is that we end up believing that we have to be perfect. We end up feeling like we have to do things the right way, and we end up killing our creativity, associating those small mistakes with the traumatic experiences that we had. So then the cycle continues. Teacher pushes kid to be impeccable. Kid believes he needs to be perfect. Kid suffers by never finishing what he or she started. Kid ends up miserable and unfulfilled because nothing is ever good enough. Despite what your mind has been conditioned to believe, there is no such thing as a perfect starting or end point. Perfectionism is just a mask for doubt, insecurity, and overthinking. The result is procrastination. We need to identify the weak links so that we can push through discomfort and break limits. Mastery in anything comes from constant iteration and refining. My experiences weren't all bad though. My involvement in sports and academics incited a competitive edge to my work. However, combining a traumatic childhood with a competitive nature and a vigorous sense of curiosity, you get an overthinker and a serial procrastinator. I should pride myself on my intellect because knowledge is power, right? Not quite. If knowledge is power, applied knowledge is God level. Here is the overthinker solution. Take an action-based approach. Mistakes need to be made and you have to get out your first draft ASAP. Take my 30-day video challenge, for example. I procrastinated for many years before starting this channel and recording myself on video because of the fear that I had. This doesn't mean settling for subpar work. You should focus on completing tasks with realistic expectations, giving yourself the freedom to make mistakes and learn from. First, recognize your perfectionistic tendencies and write them down. This helps you to become more aware of when they come up the most often. I like to do it in my morning or evening routine. Then develop healthy habits to help you focus on the task and not the details, like meditation, journaling, and focusing on a minimally viable outcome. Take a break when you need one and be kind to yourself after making mistakes. Set a deadline to give yourself external accountability and stick to it. If you need help on sticking with a goal, here's a video showing you how. Remember to take small steps and celebrate your milestones, no matter how small they are. If you want to take it a step further, document your progress. Keep track of what works, what doesn't, and what you can do in the future to improve. This will help you to identify patterns and create a system that works for you specifically. All right, that was a lot of information and kind of throwing stuff at you. So let's break it up into 3 simple action steps. Number 1 is to write down your concerns. The first step to changing habits is awareness. This is to make sure you get clear on what's holding you back by pursuing activities like meditation, journaling, and daily reflection. This involves not consuming so much and taking 10 to 15 minute blocks to just sit and think. Number 2 is to take a minimalist approach. Set a deadline so that you must finish by that time frame, and develop a minimal outcome so that you can get feedback on it and then you're able to refine it later. The best way to do this is to join a community or reach out to other people online that are doing the same thing as you, so that way you have other people to build with. Tip number 3 is to reflect and revise. Congratulations, you already beat perfectionism by getting out your first draft. Now you can get feedback from someone you trust, then go back and make improvements. Perfectionism is self-sabotage. Learning to take imperfect action will help to drive us forward. Action is the answer to fear of failure, and it can help us to become more confident in our abilities over time. Use these tips the next time you pursue another project, a skill, or venture. These have helped me develop a healthier relationship with perfectionism by recognizing that mistakes are only stepping stones for learning. Mistakes are part of the process, and this is what's going to help you get better and closer to that perfection. But that's not the point. It's okay to not be perfect. Every action you take is helping you become more aligned with the best version of yourself. As a recovering perfectionist, this is the key that I needed to actually move forward, record this video, and pursue many of my other goals. So I hope this was helpful. Leave me a comment down below if this gave you a little bit of relief. And if you liked the video, share it with someone you think it might benefit. And if you like videos like this and you want to see more, be sure to subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.